When I read this line, I was like, yo, this treasure hunter swordsman did not just go there. Women like you should know your place. And that's simply shaking their asses for men like us. When homie said that, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, dude was on some beastly crazy shit. I'm not a misogynist or anything like that, but goddamn, homie was being a man. About goddamn time somebody said something like that. So this chapter of Fairy Tail, it was enjoyable. It had a couple of good aspects to it. I felt as though the important parts of it was mainly building on to Flare, building her character and giving her a little bit more backstory. And it was cool to see some of the fight with the treasure hunters, but to be honest with you, I wasn't really that into the fight because, let's keep it real, you know there's really no danger coming from those guys. Those guys are as harmless as a goddamn happy without wings. Happy with wings, whatever. So the fight wasn't really a big deal to me. I mean, I knew in the end they were not going to be able to defeat Fairy Tail, even though they were talking a big game, how, you know, it would take 10 years for them to come up against a treasure hunting guild. Although it did give me a little bit of hope for the way they were talking, that there are other guilds out there that are, you know, not magicians or not mages can actually do more than simply get their asses kicked. But still, nonetheless, they weren't really a big threat, and I felt as though them coming in, they were a sideshow. They were just like the executioners, probably even worse because they just got their asses kicked by a little girl, a girl with keys, and some girl's hair. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating at how weak they are, but you get what I mean. Another thing besides Flare's past that we learned about in this chapter was that the ice on this actual mountain has magical properties. That's why Virgo couldn't tunnel into it, and it was stopping her from pretty much going through. Which, once again, makes me think that this entire mountain is the Eternal Flame itself. And it kind of makes sense that that would be the Eternal Flame because Erza turning into a little kid, I still don't buy that that was that monster thing that turned her into it. I think it was really the Eternal Flame. And then something that Flare says about the Eternal Flame blessing her with that hair. It makes me think that she got her magic actually from the Eternal Flame for her hair, and pretty much that's how it keeps on, you know, becoming like a weapon for her. But it made me think, does that hair just keep growing back because the treasure hunter cut it like twice and it kept on growing? That gotta be some damn magic. It was a little bit confusing to see that Flare came from this actual mountain with these giants, and it makes me want to learn a little bit more about these giants because Flare comes off as a bit sadistic. She has a good heart, but she comes off as a little weird and sadistic, and it makes you think, okay, some of these giants definitely have to have a similar personality to her if she grew up by them, and that's how she has that personality. Because let's keep it real, she's a freaking weirdo. Joking around about stalking Lucy. While she said she was just kidding, I actually believe that she was stalking her. Although I wouldn't mind seeing Lucy and Flare together. Yeah. And it's also revealed that the symbol on her tit was actually from the Sun Village, so she didn't go and join another guild. I guess she just decided to go back home and become one with her roots. I imagine after this particular part, maybe something's going to happen to her homeland, or they're going to tell her, nah, go with Fairy Tail. These are some good people. They saved us, and that's how Flare will join Fairy Tail. Which it's inevitable. I mean, at the end of the day, she gets along with everybody. She works well with Wendy and Lucy, as seen in this chapter, and overall, she's a cool addition to Fairy Tail. Overall chapter was a fine chapter. I wasn't too keen about the battle, to be honest with you, because I like it when it's a good battle and it's something interesting, but I knew from the get-go that even if they showed a slight bit of threat, they were going to get their asses handed to them, because even though I exaggerated in the last chapter and I made it seem like, you know, Wendy and Lucy are absolutely helpless, at the end of the day, they really could kick their asses, and especially when you got Flare on their side, they should have demolished them, so there was really no question in my mind that this was going to be anything other than them getting their asses kicked in the end, which made things a little less interesting than it should have been. Overall, I give this chapter 6 out of 10. Again, it was a fine chapter, nothing too interesting. We got a couple of different things regarding Flare's backstory, and as well as the magical mountain that is pretty much has magical properties in it, but outside of that, it really just didn't give too much. And it focused mostly on comedy, which sometimes it was alright, but then there was times where it was just like, whatever. In particular, I didn't really care for the cancer joke when he was fixing Flare's hair after she got it cut. It was just like kind of not needed. What do you guys think? Do you think Flare will join Fairy Tail after the end of this arc? The way I pretty much said, after Fairy Tail saves this magical place, they're gonna pretty much say, hey, you know, you grew up with us and whatnot, we raised you, but we want you to be with these people. Or you think she just might stay in the Sun Village? And what do you think about the fight with the treasure hunters? To me, they were crusty as Team Rocket from Pokemon. They even went blasting off just like Team Rocket. That's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for red, blue, and blonde, because that was a pretty cool combination against some crusty opponents. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.